You've tuned in to Arm and a Leg and Other Opinions We Like to Give, a weekly podcast hosted by two veterans dedicated to politics, current events, interviews, and anything else they want to mention, but probably shouldn't. So without further ado, here are your hosts, Robbie the Dream Gaupp and Brett Miracle Man Parks.
Hey, welcome, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Arm and a Leg and Other Opinions We Like to Give. My name is Brett Parks.
And it's your boy, Robbie Gaupp.
We have a fun-filled day today full of treachery and cross-breeding and all sorts of stuff that has nothing to do with cross-breeding. First and foremost, Robbie, how's your week been, buddy?
It's been pretty good, man. It's not been bad. I had a lot of soccer practices, so that's kind of drawing out my week. And we had some soccer games this last week, which my kids got smashed. So
it's weird that they call it a soccer practice because it's not really a sport. So
it's a lot of running. That's all it is. It's a lot of running.
I've been trying to get my daughter to get into soccer, and she kind of wants to get into it, but she's so into dance and gymnastics. I'm like, forget it.
Yeah, I mean, those are big sports right there. I'd definitely tell her to keep driving in those sports if she ever wants to do like cheerleading or anything like that versus soccer. But if she likes the athletic part, then soccer's the way to go. Yeah,
no, that's true. That's true. So my week this week, I just want to.
Yeah, how's your week? How's your week, Brett Parks?
Since you asked, I just want to say one thing. If we're on Facebook, and I'm talking about me and anyone else that's listening, and I say something in your post that's kind of negative or combative, and you don't know that I'm trolling yet at this point in my life, you got serious problems. Now, I didn't say his name last week, but I'm going to say his name. Actually, I'm not going to say his name this week, but it sounds like Chance Field. We've been going at it back and forth, and I've always respected Chance. You know, I've always liked Chance. I've always respected him. That's why I kind of give him a hard time. But then he said something last week or 2 weeks ago that let me see that, okay, I guess our relationship wasn't what I thought it was. So now I'm really poking him, you know? It's like it's that whole thing like, you know, I'm not touching you. Does this bother you? I'm not touching you. So I said something to him today, and he just said, you know what, Brett, you're really getting on my nerves. And that's really all he said. And that's Chance playing it the right way. That's all he has to say, you know, and the way to stop me from trolling is not say anything. But now everyone else comes to his defense. It's like, how dare you talk to him like that, and all this stuff. And I'm like, stop trying to stand up for him. He's a man. Let him handle his own business. Stop trying to be his daddy. Stop trying to be his mommy and stuff like that. So yeah, all you guys that are getting all bent out of shape, I'm not angry. I'm laughing at you because this is what I do these days, because you're not going to change anybody's mind on Facebook. You're not going to change your mind on anything. So now I just troll because I've given up in life.
Yeah, I've realized on Facebook and a lot of the social media type things like that now, people aren't there to have opinions. They're there to only show their way and their side only. So they don't go on there and have conversations about their opinion at all.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're not open to anything else but their ways. And I'm like that in a lot of ways as well. There has been 4 times, I think, in the past 5 years where I actually said, you know what, I was wrong. You were right. Because when I'm wrong, I admit it. So about 4 times in 5 years. And if you think I'm wrong about that, now I'm not wrong, you're wrong. I'm not admitting it.
I love watching y'all's arguments. So whenever I do go on social media, I definitely check them out and just see how you are going at it. It's like a boyfriend and a girlfriend. They're just.
And the thing is that like if Chance, he's welcome to come on this show at any time. I welcome him with open arms. I'd totally be respectful. I'd ask him questions. I'd have no gotcha questions. I'd really be sincere, you know, because I like Chance. But he won't do that, and you know, it's just going to be where we're just going to be hitting each other every which way.
Yeah, that's the big thing though. Whenever you're having a conversation, a lot of times, if you're an open-minded person, it's hard to have a conversation with somebody who's just one way. Mm-hmm. One way people don't really ever change their side. They never open-minded to what else could possibly be, and the other side of the opinion. So it's only their way or no way. So
Right. And I am a person that, and my mom listening to this, she will definitely say, yes, you're totally right. I'm somebody that's very hard to talk with because I nitpick. I'll find something in your argument or statement that I'll say, well, that's not true. Let's talk about that. But by the way, it's my mom's birthday today. Happy birthday, Mom.
happy birthday, Mom.
I love you so much. I'm pretty sure you're, oh gosh, like 32 now, I think. So it's weird. I'm 40. She's 32. So it's I don't want to bore you with it, but
it works.
It works,
It's the new math.
How does a rainbow fly? It just does. Okay.
So Brett,
Yeah.
what is your opinion on the new Superman being Michael B. Jordan?
Okay. We were talking about this a little bit offline, and you said as of right now, it's not a done deal. It's just rumors and stuff. And I have two thoughts about this. The first one is I do not like it as far as him being Clark Kent. But if he's not Clark Kent, if he's another Superman, because there are multiverses in DC and Marvel. So, and what I mean by multiverses is there's different universes, that those that don't know what multi means, there's different universes, and there's, it's not always the same story. So if he's another Kryptonian, I'm okay with that. That's fine. But if they make him Clark Kent, I think it's really reaching, because I don't think anywhere in the comics, I'm not sure, you probably know better than me because you know comics better than me. I'm pretty sure there was no Superman in the DC comics that was a black Clark Kent.
No, there wasn't.
So, but there were black Supermen.
There was,
but just not Clark Kent. So if they change him and not being Clark Kent, just being a different multiverse where he's another Kryptonian, I'm fine with that. I think he'd be great. He was an incredible Killmonger. He was a horrible Flamer. Was that the guy? Flamer?
No, for the
Flamer?
Torch. The Human Torch.
That's what it is. Flamer, Torch. Thank you.
So Brett, for the people listening, just so they don't know, can you explain the Superman, I guess, changeover and what's all going on with that?
Okay, so Henry Cavill, who's playing the Man of Steel, he's played in Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Justice League. There was a problem with the with him and the I guess the DC, or who was it?
The contract agreement.
Yeah, the contract, and they couldn't reach the right thing. They couldn't figure out. They couldn't agree on things. So there was rumors that he was gone. He was out. He was done with Superman. But then Instagram, he put out an Instagram video like that same day that those rumors came out. Him in a Krypton, like Team Krypton shirt, and had a Superman, and he was lifting it up, showing him a Superman, and then lifting it down. So then there was like, oh, isn't he? So I don't know if that's actually, is he out for now? Is he out?
As of right now, I believe they're still working on, the contract stuff and trying to figure it out. But his, I know DC did say at that moment he is currently not going to be the Superman.
Right. And that makes me upset, because I thought he is my favorite Superman. He was my favorite Man of Steel. He was strong. I liked how he was struggling with with him being being on Earth and being a Kryptonian. It reminded me a lot of the Earth 1 series, where he wasn't this clean cut, all American, like I think pure, I am pure. He really struggled with things. And I really liked that about the Superman. Now, Zack Snyder, who directed, I think he directed the Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman. He's not a good storyteller. He's not a Christopher Nolan, who did all the Dark Knight series with the Joker and all those. He's not a storyteller. He's a great effects guy. So when he's trying to tell a story of Man of Steel and stuff, it's kind of like, it's not that great. But I think Henry Cavill is an incredible Superman, and I love him. I hope he stays for at least one more Superman standalone movie, so I can be like, okay, I got my fix, and then he can move on.
Well, I agree with you. I think Henry Cavill is definitely overall a great Superman. I think definitely the best Superman I've seen. Possibly Nicolas Cage could have been better, but that's just joking.
See what you did there.
Who knows? I think he, like you said, he is the best Superman. I think the story was pretty decent. It brought in some people that we haven't seen in a lot of in the, I guess, in the movie series.
Mhm.
So I think that was definitely a good story as far as that kind of stuff. It was, the first one was a little odd to me because, you know, he was kind of drawing his power, so it's kind of drawn out a little bit.
Right. Right.
But I did enjoy the movie. I thought I actually went and watched it in IMAX and everything else. So, and I think you're right, Michael B. Jordan. I don't think he would be a great cast for that Superman. I can't really say. I think he played a great villain in Black Panther.
Oh, so good.
But I think Michael B. Jordan would be great as playing Steel if they ever brought him into the Superman series. I think that'd be amazing. Or, you know, make even a DC movie that he plays Steel.
Right, right. And let's just call this what it is. I think the real reason a lot of people are upset that Michael B. Jordan is in the mix is because, you know, his skin color, he's a black guy, and people can't. It's like, no. It's you don't play a skinny guy to play an obese person. You don't play, you know, it's just there are certain parameters, and especially when it comes to comic books that you need to do. Like they're in the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan isn't a black guy. He's a white guy, but there is a black Green Lantern. And it's the same thing with Superman. And although I think Michael B. Jordan would be incredible as a Kryptonian, Clark Kent is not a black guy. He's a white guy. And we have to draw the line somewhere. It'd be like a white guy like Brad Pitt playing the Black Panther, T'Challa. There was no white T'Challa. T'Challa. There was no white T'Challa. So let's stay true to the comic books, and we can divert in multiverses.
I've always had this problem, I believe, with comic movies, because a lot of times I'll see people play different superheroes. I'm not a big fan of that. Like I didn't like Ryan Reynolds when he played Green Lantern and then played Deadpool, then played Green Lantern, then went back to Deadpool. I think decently the story of Green Lantern could have been better. And Ryan Reynolds definitely, he played a good Green Lantern. It's just that story's been drawn out so many times and replayed over and over, so people already seen it.
Right.
But to me, his Deadpool is amazing. And if he would have just been Deadpool from the original, why change him over and over to different superheroes? So
right.
And Michael B. Jordan being the Human Torch, and then playing a villain in Black Panther. Right. I don't like how they keep changing character to character to character. Like I'm just not a big fan of it.
Yeah, you should be a one and done kind of superhero guy. If you play one superhero, like Ben Affleck in Daredevil, guess what, dude? You played Daredevil, you screwed that up. Sorry.
Yeah,
you're done.
Like Christian Bale, I liked him as the Dark Knight, and and that's his role. And I hope he never plays another superhero, because that was good for him. Even though he talked like this, it's just,
where is she?
But if he ever comes back and plays another Batman movie, hopefully he plays Batman and not a villain or something like that. It's very odd.
Yeah, I get it. The only person I'm okay with playing multiple villains and superheroes is Tom Hardy, because he can play anything.
Yeah, but
I'd like to see him as
right now. He's actually playing villain roles, and I like the villain roles that he's doing.
Yeah.
I think if he would the Bane, I'm not a big fan of the Bane. I wasn't a big fan of Bane, but just because the way that they drew him and made him be. But I think him playing Venom is going to be in charge. I think Venom is going to be an amazing cast.
You know what I don't like about Venom? I don't like that they're making him an anti-hero in it.
Well, he's not a hero. He's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Why are they doing that? Make him a bad guy. It's kind of like making Suicide Squad. They weren't really bad guys, even though every other scene, they're like, we're the bad guys, remember? They kept reminding us that they're the bad guys. Like, yeah, act like it.
I'm not going to lie. As far as superhero type comic book movies, Suicide Squad is by far one of the worst movies ever made. Meteor Man is better than Suicide Squad to me.
Yes. No, Suicide Squad is mind-numbing. I tried watching it for a second time thinking that, okay, maybe I missed something. Maybe I just didn't appreciate it. No, it's worse the second time you watch it.
Yes,
you see even more of the holes. I'd rather watch Catwoman with Halle Berry than Suicide Squad.
Yeah, my thing is with Suicide Squad, you have in this world we have so much CGI that we could make things look great, and they actually use a lot of CGI in that movie. make The Croc a human like person and not make him look amazing. Kind of ruined it for me. And then he didn't even have a big part, which I mean, he is huge. Like he should have been gigantuous and monstrous. But
he just looked like a dude that had a bunch of lipomas all over. That's gross.
But on to some serious news today. So Brett, we've been talking off and on this week about Brett Kavanaugh and the allegations that have come up against him as far as what's going on with all that. How do you feel, and what is your opinion on all this?
Well, first and foremost, my first feeling is that his first name is amazing.
And also, before you go into that, can you kind of give a little rundown of the story?
Okay, so Brett Kavanaugh, he was a kind of a hotshot judge for a while, and he was more on the conservative side. He's a conservative, but he's more of an establishment conservative judge, and his name was being floated around to be Supreme Court nominee. And there was a bunch of people on the list. There's a short list, but he was one of them, and eventually Trump, he decided, you know what, this is the guy. Well, right when Trump nominated him as a Supreme Court nominee, the Democrats came out and they basically said, we're not voting for him. He's a bad guy. He's going to overturn Roe versus Wade, which there's no evidence that supports that at all. But that's what they say because, you know, everything's so partisan now that no matter what, you're going to be voted against. So they had the hearings, Dianne Feinstein and all them, the Republicans and Democrats, they asked questions, Kavanaugh answers questions, but, you know, he took the Ruth Bader Ginsburg approach where he didn't really answer any questions that he was asked. He just, you know, said, well, at this point, that's not true. And at this point, I wouldn't do that. At this point, it stands this. So the day after the hearings, Dianne Feinstein gave out a letter, released a letter that was anonymous saying that Brett Kavanaugh actually sexually assaulted a female in high school. I believe the female was 15 and he was 17.
15, 17.
And they were at a party. And from what the note said, they were at a party and two guys, Brett Kavanaugh and another judge, I think his name was Judge Ford. They kind of carried her into a room, locked the door, threw her on the bed. Brett Kavanaugh covered her mouth and tried to take her bathing suit top off and jumped on top of her. Well, Ford, after a little bit, saw that, and Ford kind of got on him to try to get him out.
Ford was the female, Brett.
So what's the judges?
The other person that was involved was actually named.
He's another judge in D.C.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
All right, we'll figure it out. You keep looking for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the other judge he wasn't a judge at this point. He's in high school.
Mark Judge. He's not. I don't know if he's a judge, but his name's Mark Judge. Actually.
Gosh, man, I'm all over. Martin Judge. I gotta lay off this cocaine.
Mark Judge. So people know Ford was the female, Kavanaugh was in the room, and Mark Judge was in the room.
Okay, that's why I thought he was a judge, because his last name was Judge. So he kind of got into it and was like, "Hey, no, stop that!" And she gets out and she runs away and she runs in the bathroom. Well, that was in 1984 or 82 or 84. So fast forward 30 years, and the day after the hearings, Feinstein releases this letter that was written to her given to her back in July, saying that Kavanaugh did this and he shouldn't be considered for Supreme Court justice.
Now, so for people who don't know, Feinstein actually got this letter in July, but it wasn't brought to people's until the end of August, right?
Yeah, like a week ago, the day after the hearings.
Yeah, that's when it was completely pushed out.
She had it during the whole hearings and didn't say anything about it. She waited till after the hearings were done that she released it.
And now in 2012, she actually seen a psychologist. That psychologist, of course, they write down things, or the therapist, I guess you would say psychologist, therapist, whatever. And in 2012, she had actually seen the psychologist and actually brought up this, I guess, act to the therapist, and the therapist wrote it all down. So they actually submitted those notes as well. And she actually took a lie detector test in August, which she said she wasn't actually going to try to push this out, but now it's, of course, out because she said she had to because the media was going to push it out. But with this, in the therapist notes, she stated that there was 4 people in the room when her first allegation letter that she gave to Feinstein stated that there was only 2 people. Right. So there's some inconsistencies in the stories here that, and we have to look at it is where, yes, people's minds change over time and things happen that affect what has happened in the past and how you perceive it. So, in my opinion, you're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of them things that, if he did it, I solely agree this person should not take a seat in our judicial system, just because that's, that is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that we need to realize is nobody, well, any rational American citizen on both sides, we know that listen, it's if this guy did this and what he did was true, he belongs far away from Supreme Court justice chair. But right now the burden of proof falls to the accuser, and she comes out and she says, he did this, he did that 30 something years ago. She doesn't give specific time. She doesn't know what house it was, how she got to the house, what date it was. She gets the how many people were in the room wrong. And also, and just full disclosure, when you go to a therapist and you start talking about sexual assault or whatever, she may have said it was Brett Kavanaugh, which her husband said that she said it was Brett Kavanaugh. But in the notes, it doesn't have Brett Kavanaugh's name because therapists traditionally do not write the suspect or the guy, the assaulter. They don't write their name in the notes. They just write that a person did it. So, but there's a lot of things that we need to ask, and this is a very serious issue because it could possibly ruin not just his career but his life if this indeed is kind of a tall tale. But also, on the other side, if this did happen to her, we need to address it.
So I have a quick question, Brett.
Yeah.
I know with like kids and anything that affects like law and even harming yourself and those kind of things, therapists automatically send those things into like a police department and stuff like that. So if this was something that was brought up, was the therapist not mandated to at least send this in to be processed and looked into?
Well, I'm not too sure about that because I don't know what the laws on the books were in the 80s. Oh, no,
I'm
it was
talking about
2012. I don't know what the laws on the book were in 2012 and even what kind of a therapist it was. It could have been a different kind of therapist. It could, who knows? It might not even been I'm just reaching.
A licensed therapist or anything?
It might not have been licensed and might not or she might have been in the wrong.
My problem with the whole Brett Kavanaugh thing is, like I said, if he did it, he should be punished. But I don't understand. We're in a society now where anytime it seems like somebody's getting something, that they're almost somebody that jumps out of the woodworks and tries to take it from you, no matter what it is. It's not just saying this.
Right. Yeah.
This instance. But my thing is, when we look at this, and I'm looking at it also from every point of view, I try to, that this woman, the Ford, what's her name? Christine Ford, right? Yeah, Christine Ford.
Ford.
She is a Democrat, and we know Democrats don't care about nobody, not even their own people, in the end. But in a way, it's a Democrat versus, in her mind, an opinion, is a Republican, because who knows, they might not even look at conservatives like that. So is this something being created just so that a Republican doesn't get a seat, do you think?
Possibly? Well, yeah, there's a lot of factors that kind of lean towards that. Number one is Feinstein had it since July, and she decided not to do anything about it until after the actual hearings. There's also where the attorney to Miss Ford said that she will definitely testify in front of the Senate. And then all of a sudden they backpedaled and said, no, she won't testify until the FBI looks into it, which they can't look into because there's nothing to look into. There's no specific time, date, place. There's a lot of missing things. They can't look into it. And also the attorney was like, listen, we need to take our time. We don't have to answer things. We want Trump to go, not Trump, I'm sorry. We want Kavanaugh to go first, and we need to take our time to gather ourselves. So to me, it looks like they're stalling for the midterm election, which is really only 2 months away. And if they go to the the midterms election and they take the House and the Senate or whatever, they can just stonewall, and they don't have to get any nominee in until, Trump puts on somebody that's really quite liberal. There's a lot of things that show that this is a little bit more than they're trying to let off. And those of you that think that these senators care one bit about Miss Ford, you're wrong, because they don't care. All they care about is getting Kavanaugh out of there. That's why, if I was Dianne Feinstein, or Feinstein, whatever, however you want to say it, if I was her and I got that this girl there was attempted rape on her in an anonymous letter, I am talking about it during those hearings and saying, listen, this happened. What's this all about? You got to explain yourself. And that she should have done that, but she didn't, because she doesn't care about her. She just cares about the timing of everything.
Yeah, I understand that. Now, just so people know, Mark Judge, the friend that supposedly helped Christine Ford, he actually is saying this never happened. That Ford named a few people that were supposedly present at the party that was in question in 1980, but they have denied all allegations. Mark Judge, the friend, is actually on the side of Brett Kavanaugh, saying, "Hey, this never happened. I don't know nothing about this." There was also a person. They don't really say her name, but let me see right here. I'm going to kind of read what she all said, and she actually made a tweet, and then it was kind of taken down after. Fueling more curiosity was a supposed former classmate of Ford, who posted a statement on Facebook this week saying the incident did happen and it was spoken about days afterwards in the school. But the post came under scrutiny because Ford's previous statements that the alleged incident occurred during the summer, because when she first wrote the letter to Feinstein, it happened in the summer is what she stated. Well, this girl's saying it happened in the school,
right,
and not during the school year. And she did not discuss it with anyone until counseling with the therapist in 2012. So supposedly, Ms. Ford had never talked about it until she's seen the therapist. The classmate also posted this statement, Christine King Miranda, I'm guessing that's her name.
Yeah.
Eventually deleted the post on Wednesday and clarified that I do not have firsthand knowledge of the incident that Dr. Christine Blasey Ford mentions, and I stand by my support for Christine. She later told the NPR that it happened. Whether it happened or not, I have no idea. I can't say it did or did not. So she doesn't know if it happened or not. She almost just made up a complete story to just support Ford, which we see that happening all the time now. People coming out saying, "Oh, I'm with them," and I seen it happen, and it not even being
right. It's tribalism. Let's just call it what it is. It's tribalism. We as humans, we are naturally tribal people, and there's Republicans and Democrats. So it's more like conservatives and liberals and leftists. You can be a liberal and not a leftist. You can be a conservative and not a Republican. But we tend to stick with people that we agree with and that agree with us and they're on our side. And with this, a lot of people are just going and sticking with her, not just because mostly because he's a Republican going for the Supreme Court. Not just that, but also because this whole Me Too movement has to me gotten a little bit out of control. And what I mean by that is us as human beings, us as the American public. We hear a lady say, Me Too, this person did this and this and this, and all of a sudden that person is a bad person. We don't stop and think to ourselves, okay, let's make sure this is a legit claim. And it's very scary that a man can be doing everything he's supposed to do, and some lady says, hey, this guy touched me at this time, and all of a sudden you're completely ruined as a human being. And that's a very scary place to be in right now.
Yeah, and my thing is, when the tables turn, is it accepted just as much? I haven't seen a lot of guys coming out saying me too, that a woman did it to them. It's more, the females saying the males, or the males saying a male did it.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if it's going to be looked at the same if a male comes out and says, well, this female took advantage of me, just based on opinion.
I think naturally we tend to lean more towards, come on, get out of here, if it's a guy saying it. There's been times in my life where a woman has said some things inappropriately to me, where I'm just like, okay, well, whatever. I'm a regular human being, and I just laugh it off or turn it down. It's not this huge thing. But it's we tend to, like it or not, and I know the feminists won't like this, we tend to hold males a little harsher, and we tend to lift up females a little more. We're not equal. Us men, most men, we look at females as they're better than we are. We hold them higher than our standards. They're not equal in our eyes. They're greater than us. So if a girl says something like, I was assaulted or something like that, we take it serious for the most part, unless there's so many holes in it that it's like.
That's the thing. I think a lot of times when we're instantly taken that we're against somebody because, they just feel athletic wise, because we say, oh, well, I'm faster than that person. Oh, well, you're saying I'm not good enough, or I'm not fast enough. It's not that way. We're not perceiving females that way. A lot of times we think you're a lot better in a lot of things. Like, women can raise kids. It's hard. I can't say every man can't do it, but it's hard for a man to just raise a kid by themselves. It really is a struggle. I'm not going to say and lie. I raised 2 kids by myself for a while. It was a struggle. It's really hard. But with a female can literally take it on like it's nothing. I watched my mom do it, and it's ridiculous to say that men look at women as weak, because in all actuality, I looked more at my father for leaving me when I was young as being weak versus my mom raising me.
Right. Exactly.
So you're right on that completely. And in my opinion, I feel there's so many loops right now. I hope for Christine Ford, if it happened, that
holes,
holes. There's so many holes, but I hope for Christine Ford's sake that if it is real, that Brett Kavanaugh is punished and this doesn't happen for him, and it all comes out.
For sure.
If it didn't happen and Brett Kavanaugh is found guilty or is even found innocent, if it didn't happen, I hope there's some kind of punishment for her for coming out like this, because we see this all the time now, where, I was just watched recently, there was a football player that actually was in college and got had an accusation that he had raped a girl, and of course went to prison, didn't get to go to the NFL, and watched his career crumble and right away, just like that. Right. So and then of course she found out later that it was all a hoax and made up. So it's like, you should be punished for this at the same time. And at the same time, I believe that, we need to make a statute of limitations on people just coming out and trying to ruin people's lives by saying stuff like this. Like, because that's what it is. No matter what, this guy for the rest of his life, and that people, in some people's eyes, is going to be a rapist.
Right. Of course. Yeah. And that's the sad thing. I mean, this happened to Clarence Thomas years ago.
He also, before you start that, he also is going to be looked at as possibly a pedophile, because he was 17, she was 15.
Right.
So who knows?
Yeah, sexual predator and all sorts of stuff. It's ridiculous. Like the Clarence Thomas, this happened to him when he was a Republican judge, and he was going for Supreme Court justice seat, and he actually got it, but they had Anita Hill came out and said almost the exact same thing that's going on right now. And he was completely exonerated. Turns out that there's so many holes in it, and it is so ridiculous that he was actually voted in. But right now the public look at him that way. I mean, HBO just recently did a documentary, or I guess it's a docu movie about Clarence Thomas and that whole thing, where it shows him as a rapist. And it's like, the court of public opinion is so wrong and so bad. And Anita Hill, what did she get? She got book deals. She got a movie made after her. She got all this stuff. She's sitting high. She's sitting pretty. And she was the one that gave the false accusations. Now that if it turned out that those accusations were false, she needed to be punished. She really
for sure.
did, because people years and years later, it's like 40 years later, and he's still considered a sexual predator, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, we see it a lot of time. Like, good thing, with DNA and those kind of things today, we're watching people get off, that have been found for crimes and stuff like that. So my thing is, I hope this works out, and whichever party is being honest about it and not trying to make up stories or whatever. But if, like I said, either way, there really is going to be no justice for either one, I feel, because if Brett Kavanaugh did do it, I feel he will lose his seat as the judge, but it's not, in a way, he's not going to do prison time or nothing like that, because it's been so long probably. But to me, it's like, it should happen that way. And if he didn't do it, then I hope Christine Ford is somehow, I know people are going to say karma's going to get her, but in my mind, there needs to be a punishment for that. So
there should be consequences to lying about something that's serious. I mean, there should be consequences to lying anyways, and there usually is, as far as like so-called karma is involved. But legally, there should be consequences to her accusations if they are indeed false. But if they're not false, if they're true, and it's proven that they're true, then let's get rid of Brett Kavanaugh. Let's kick him out of all over the place, not just out of the nomination, but let's kick him out of the judicial court system altogether.
Yeah, I agree. And we're not coming at you as being Republican or Democratic, or conservative. We're just saying, in all actuality, people need to be treated fairly and right. And, the justice system hopefully will work in this case, however it works out. And so whatever happens, and we'll keep you updated on the news of all this.
Yep.
So, and if you have any opinions, please go on our social media so that we can hear about them and we can actually, talk about it and see, it might change some of our minds too about that kind of stuff. So. Yeah,
for sure. I know this is a very touchy subject, and I get it. We both do. And it's tough we have to tread really lightly when it comes to a subject like this. And we could come off crass at times, but really we're just looking out after the best interest of everybody, and mostly the American people when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah, because it is very hard, with especially a sexual trauma type stuff like this, where I can, as a person, I can say, oh man, I don't understand why they didn't come out sooner, but I've never been in that position. So I do understand where some people say, oh, they never come out till. But for me, a lot of times when you don't come out only for public gratitude, I guess, in my mind, it is hard for me as myself, Robbie Gaupp, to say I understand, because now you could have done it in any other way, but now you're only doing it for publicity for yourself. So,
right. Yeah.
But on to some strange news, Brett. What strange news do you have for us today?
News. All right. Okay. You ready for this? Our good friend, Stormy Daniels, is back in the news, and we love
She's back.
We love us some Stormy Daniels here, because the more she talks, the dumber it gets. So she, and her new book, which I'm not even going to tell you guys what it's called because I don't care enough. I don't know it. She has a new book out, and supposedly has words in it. And in it, she describes Trump's encounter, her encounter with Trump, and she actually describes his penis. So I saw penis.
This is
I was
gonna
like,
be strange.
let's talk about penis.
This is going to be strange.
This is very strange. I hope everyone ate at least 2 hours ago. And
not a hot dog. I didn't eat a hot dog.
She describes Trump's penis as smaller than average, but not freakishly small. Then he says, then she goes on to say, he knows he has an unusual penis, Daniels writes. And then she also says, it has a huge mushroom head like a toadstool.
I got toadstool.
Toadstool, like a toadstool. So I don't know if you guys have the visual right now. I do.
I'll give you a visual. Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, yeah. That's
a toadstool.
That's a toadstool. So that's disgusting.
That's pretty disgusting.
So, she goes on and says, I lay there annoyed that I was getting effed by a guy with Yeti pubes and a DICK like the mushroom character in Mario Kart. What is going on?
So my question is, for Stormy Daniels, in her head, was she playing the Mario theme music?
The theme music?
Yes.
What if Trump did that, man? Every time he's about to have sex, he turns on the Mario theme music.
It would be, I mean, first off,
ready for this. I'm going to you.
I'm sure he would never deny that. Like, because as a man, if I did something where I played Mario music on the bedroom, I would never deny it, ever. It would never happen. I'd never deny it.
He goes on to say it may have been the least impressive sex I've ever had, but clearly he didn't share that opinion. Of course he didn't share that opinion. He just had sex with a porn star.
Well, first off, he would have said it's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. She liked it bigly.
It's a huge toadstool.
It is a huge toadstool. So yeah, this is ridiculous. Here we are in 2018, and let's see, in our lifetime, Robbie, there's been 3 presidents that we've had their penis described to us.
Yes.
Are you kidding me right now? Well, Vice President Edwards was he was running for president, right?
Well, we also had, what's his name? Oh man, I don't remember his name. He's the pedophile guy.
Oh, him.
All over the internet. Remember sending his photos to the young ladies?
Oh, yeah. It's such a Wiener.
Wiener, yeah, Anthony Wiener. That's his name. Wiener
sent his rod.
So it's
yeah.
I mean,
it's ridiculous, man.
It's ridiculous.
What is going on here? Like,
my main thing is, how is Stormy Daniels still in like the conversations all the time? Like, she has really created a name for herself.
I mean, good for her. You know,
she can't make movies no more, so you put yourself in the spotlight.
You know what? Good for her. And she's like, it's the most least impressive sex I've ever had. That girl has sex for a living. Like, what are you talking about? The least impressive? Of course, it's probably the least. He's not a pro.
I'm sure he wasn't impressed either, throwing a hot dog or a toadstool down a hallway. I mean, just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what, I always say, I don't care how bad it is. It would be fun to still throw a hot dog down a hallway. Okay, it'd still be fun. I don't know about toadstool, but a hot dog.
That's true. I mean, yeah. I can see that being a fun game. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, but I think, I could see it.
But that's just very odd. It is very strange that somebody would come out with that.
I just don't get it, man.
I think she's strange.
She is strange. She's into pornography.
So,
right.
So that completely goes with our strange news.
And that's all we got for today. I'm going to go and throw up after this, but thank you so much for tuning in to Arm and a Leg and other opinions we like to give. Make sure we have a YouTube channel. It's Arm and a Leg Podcast, and go on there, subscribe, hit the notification button so you can watch our beautiful faces as long as listen to our everything else.
We also have a Facebook page, so if you can go on and subscribe and I guess like it, that's what you do. Go on and like it, and leave some comments or even have conversations with us. We check on it all the time and just make sure that if you have something that you put out there that we might want to talk about next week, then we might get on that and we'll bring you up to say, hey, this person brought it up.
Yeah, for sure, man. Listen, you can love our Facebook. The only option they give you is like. So just click that like button. Yeah, good luck getting the toadstool out of your brain. And yeah, Robbie, thank you so much.
Thanks
Nice
a lot.
talking to you. Once again, I'm Brett Parks.
This is your boy, Robbie Gaupp.
And we are
Out of here.